Hey everybody, what's up y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. Let's talk Married at First Sight San Diego, season 15, episode 8, Party Ways. If you're brand new to my channel, I do breakdowns on various TV shows, both scripted and reality, interjecting my own thoughts, opinions, and theories into each and every recap. For Married at First Sight, I give each couple their own dedicated video. So if there's a couple that you don't care about, you don't have to sit through commentary about them. All right. So if you have not already subscribed to my channel and you are just typing in Tammy Talks every week, stop. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and save yourself the trouble. All right. So let's go ahead and get into before. I want to give a shout out to Eileen Brazeau. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Eileen sent me a super thanks a while ago, and because I like had no idea what it was or how to check it or anything like that. So I'm a couple weeks late with saying thank you, but I truly appreciate it. Did not have to happen. You did not have to do it. And for those of you that have sent me like cash apps too, cash apps and Venmos, even though I have thanked you guys privately, a huge thank you to everybody that has done that. Like, I don't expect anything from you guys, so I truly appreciate all your support and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, Eileen, for the super thanks. Once I figure out if I can reply back to it, I will. But I hope you see this. It didn't say what video you super thanks on, if that makes sense. So let's get into Alexis and Justin. So it starts off with Alexis FaceTiming her friend, telling her friend, your nephew got attacked, talking about Newton. So she's talking to her friend and telling her friend that her and Justin have made a decision that if Maya continues to be aggressive, Maya being Justin's dog, then they're going to go send his dog to go live with one of his best friends. Which I guess is a good trade-off, because then Justin will still get to see his dog as much as he wants. But I also just kind of feel like, and I mean, we know that, but animals and pets have feelings. But I guess, who knows how his dog is going to feel? You know what I mean? Like, this other person, this other animal has come into our house who I saw as a threat, and then now I'm not even allowed to be with you anymore. I'm with, now I'm with someone else. So if I was his dog, is that a pimple? Lord, where'd that come from? Because if I was his dog, like, it's late. But you can imagine how his dog might feel a certain way about that. My only word of advice would be, because both Justin and Alexis were both wrong in a situation, don't make any rash decision before decision day. You know what I mean? I also wondered, is it necessary for the pets to come and live with them during this 8 weeks? On one hand, I see why it's important for the pets to find out how, what happens with your pet, get your pets acquainted, but it's too much happening too soon, and I really feel like they need to stop rushing through everything like this together. But that's just me. So Justin tells her friend that Justin said he loves her on the honeymoon. And her friend cringes like we all cringed that day. She then said that she said it back and then said, eek, yeah, eek, because you know that you don't love that man. We know that Alexis is like that person that when you say, like, and this is me because I'm awkward AF, right? Which y'all can tell by these videos. But I'm super awkward. I am awkward black girl. But I'm the person that if I'm out and I'm buying something, like I'm at a store and I'm getting like a soda or something, and someone was like, oh, enjoy your soda, I'm definitely going to be like, you too. And I feel like that's the reaction that Alexis kind of had to Justin. She just kind of said it as like a reflex. He said, I love you earlier, so like I have to kind of say it back later. Like, I feel like that's the vibe she was going for. She does not love that man. Hell, she don't even want to be with that man. She's doing everything she can to find a way to not be with him. So she also mentions that she doesn't know if she's ready to commit fully. And she thinks that's why she's like being so hard on him about certain things. And she acknowledges that she needs to give him a break when it comes to certain things. And she points out, like, just because he's vague doesn't mean he isn't truthful. And I see it both ways. I do. I see it both ways. But her friend said to just, be smart about it. Keep your eyes open. Look at everything. Look at everything that's going on with him. Don't get kind of swept up in the idea of love and the idea of being in a relationship, because it's very easy for people to do that. I think a lot of people on the show get so swept up in, oh my God, but I'm married now. I'm a wife. I'm a husband. And that's how they end up sticking around and saying yes on decision day to divorce shortly after. So her friend also tells her, don't settle. Make sure that this is the right one for you. Okay? So we see the next morning, Alexis, and we get like some behind the scenes footage. Them cameras, them nanny cams are always going. And we see Alexis and Justin in an argument. I saw a lot of mixed reactions to this on Twitter, so I'm going to give you my opinion on it. So Newton is throwing up blood, has not eaten in 2 days. So the scene that we see, we come into the argument with Justin trying to give Newton medication again, probably for his eye, and Alexis saying, why are you giving him medication? He hasn't eaten. You haven't even told me that he hasn't eaten for the past 2 days. And he's like, I'm trying to help. And she's like, the directions literally say not to give him medication on an empty stomach. I feel like that's standard. You know what I mean? Depending on what you're taking, that's pretty standard, right? I got my tonsils out last April. Could not take the medication on an empty stomach. You know what I mean? So like, you got to have something inside of you. I don't believe it would be any differently for a dog or for an animal. A mammal, you got to have something up inside of you. So I saw some people that were saying, well, where has she been that she didn't know her dog hadn't eaten for the past 2 days? It was established Justin works from home. So what I'm assuming is that Alexis gets up in the morning. She probably puts food out for her dog. Justin has been tasked with giving the dog the medication, or he volunteered to give the dog medication. And what ends up happening is maybe the dog hadn't eaten his food. Maybe Justin, some people, the average person, average dog lover, they don't leave the dog's food out all day. It gets stale. The dog doesn't want to eat it. So it could be that he notices that after a certain amount of time, he takes the food. Maybe he puts it back into the bag or something like that. So so that's more than likely why Alexis didn't know. Because if she's not home during the day, maybe the dog is on a feeding schedule. So I don't understand why people were like, well, where has she been? Y'all know damn well she didn't leave her dog. Like, I think y'all just be tweeting just to be tweeting. Like, tweeting because you got an account. People have to, let's think about some of the things that we're saying. The way she freaked out about this dog getting bit, and she refers to the dog as her child and not a dog. What will make you think that the dog, who was just recently attacked, that she would just leave in somebody else's care for 2 days? Let's think. So Justin kept saying that he had it under control. He knew what he was doing. Alexis wants to know why he didn't communicate that with her. And he said because he had it under control and he didn't think that it was worth sharing. He then goes on to say he isn't perfect. He didn't want to overshare. And I'm going to stop you right there, Justin. This is not your dog. Okay? So if someone else's animal that has been, seemingly in your care half the time is not eating, I feel like that's something you might want to say. My best friend was out of town for a funeral. I went over to her apartment years ago, and I would let her puppy out till her roommate got home and feed the dog until the roommate got home, that type of stuff. When her dog would not eat, you know what I would do? I would tell her ass, your dog didn't eat today. Didn't eat the whole time I was there. You might want to call your roommate, check on your roommate, find out what's going on with that later. But like, you don't take that into your own hands. So then Alexis said that Justin is selling false dreams because he can't communicate. He wants to know how. She said, because I literally asked you to communicate. You said that you were going to communicate. You made this big production about how I'm going to get sick of hearing you talk, only for you to not do that. He's back there screaming, well then if you can't do that, then we should just end it now. I said, just sounded like a little bitch. Sounded like a little bitch. Very bitchy of you, Justin. So then she says that she can't even go there right now. She can't do this. So he takes that to mean that she wants to like leave the relationship. She said, no, I'm talking about the argument. He says, well, go run like you always do. I said, always do? What else have y'all been arguing about? What else is going on that we haven't seen? Because that's a very pertinent statement. What, like, you don't say run like you always do unless you have been running. You know what I mean? So she turns around. We hear her open and closing the door. And she's like, no, I'm saying that I can't do the conversation right now. She's in the car later going to the candy store because they're going to get stuff for their party. She said that she feels that Justin is manipulative because he likes to twist things around. And at this point in the episode, I'm like, I wouldn't say manipulative, but after this scene, I agree with her. So she's in the candy store and she says she doesn't even know if the party is going to still happen. But she's going to go through the motions because she's committed to the process and she's committed to their marriage. So she then says that she hopes that like some of his friends show up so she can get a little more insight about him, how to deal with him. Justin shows up looking moody as fuck. They sit down and they kind of talk. He starts off because she asks him, how are you feeling? He says, well, I'm not mad at you. Justin gets on my nerves. And she said, well, I can't tell the way you was yelling and cussing and carrying on this morning. He said that he reacted that way because she keeps saying that she's done. She's done. She said, so this is how I know you don't listen to me. Because we literally just had this conversation earlier. I told you that I'm done with the conversation. Not that I'm done with the marriage. And then he just kind of looks and I'm like, you don't have nothing to say back to that, Justin? Like, Justin couldn't even say, yeah, I do be listening. He literally had nothing to say back. So she said that he does not communicate. He said that he didn't need to because he had the situation under control. And I'm thinking, no, you don't. Because it's not your situation to have under control. If my dog is not eating and my dog is throwing up blood, you need to be telling me. That's not your situation to take control of. Unless I'm out of town or incapacitated in some aspect. But the fact that I'm like legit just at work and I'm coming home every night, like Justin lost me with that. He truly lost me. So she then goes on to say that she asked him to do something. He agreed, and then he's still not doing it. She said it's draining to go from rainbows and sunshine to this, constantly. He said, well, then I just won't talk then. Again, very bitchy. He's like, so I just won't talk then. And I can't stand when people do that. I cannot stand when people say stuff like that. Where if they're saying something and you are telling them that the way that they're saying stuff, the way that they're talking about it or whatever, you don't like, you don't agree with, well, I just won't say nothing at all. Like, that's so childish. So he then goes on to say that she just wants to be heard and that she likes drama. So she was like, I'm not going to deal with this right now. So she gets up, she goes up into the front where production is waiting. And she said that she, excuse me. She said that she feels like he's being disrespectful. She said because she doesn't like drama. She's not a person that likes to argue. So the fact that he would say that is disrespectful to her. So then he says, well, that's just how I feel. I feel that you like these arguments. You like to have this type of whatever. She says that I cannot communicate with you. right now in all this hostility. She's not in a good place right now. She asked to be unmiked. She's not going to tell you again, I'm done with this conversation. And I said, this is why he's manipulative. Because I feel like Justin is the type of person that when he messes up, with something, he's the type of person that he likes to do reverse psychology, and then he turns that into tears later so you feel sorry for him. It's not working for Alexis right now. It's not working. It's not working. He thought with her saying that, oh, you just like the drama, that she was going to be like, you know what, Justin, you're right. I'm sorry. Blah, blah, blah. So that he can turn around and cry and say he feels like he's being a bad husband. And the fact that that didn't happen, he didn't know what to do. Justin was not ready to get married, and his brother was right. Ninja Turtle, Mr. Donatello, was correct. He was not ready to get married. So later on, they're having their 90s party. They're setting up in silence, okay? She over to the side cooking. He tall as the window, so he's just able to, pin it up with no ladder or anything. So when everybody comes in, Justin's friends are in theme. Alexis didn't tell her friends that there was a theme. So one of her friends was like, it would have been cool to be in theme, And she was like, yeah, it was so much going on. She then goes on to say, I'm sorry, Justin, I usually don't do this. Talk about marital issues without talking to you first. But I don't want to, pretend like things are good. So she says that she didn't even think that they were going to even have the party. And she starts telling them their business about how she's concerned about his honesty because he doesn't communicate effectively. How he likes to keep things, like how he withholds things. His female friend, said to just remember y'all are not each other's enemies. Y'all are in this together. Justin goes on to say that he feels like she's constantly drilling him. He feels like she asks him question after question after question. He's not able to fully get his thoughts together. And because of that, he's not able to, fully process and articulate himself. So sometimes the stuff that he says is going to come out contradictory because of that. And I said, that's bullshit. That's bullshit, Justin. That's bullshit. I'm sorry, but that's bull. You are old enough that you should be able to have a conversation with somebody, have a discussion with somebody, and you are able to process what they are saying. Alexis isn't rapid firing questions at you. She's not. And she even says that, and she was like, when do I do that to you, Justin? Because that's not true. And he was like, all the time. All the time. And I'm like, Justin, that's bullshit. You're getting caught up in lying. You're being vague. So if she asks you a question and then she asks a follow-up question, like, that's just what it is. That's just what it is. He gets on my nerves. This is not going to work. And while Alexis is looking for a reason to leave, Justin is just tossing them at her. Reason after reason. Here, girl. Reason. Tossing them. So she goes and talks to his friends, and she feels that he was very deceptive about his dog. She talks about the issues with the dogs. His male friend said that sometimes men just don't think about things until they occur. His female friend asks if she loves him. Alexis said, I do, but I'm not in love with him. She says she has days where she's reconsidering because her heart is into it now. So she said that she'll be out and she'll get him body wash and soap and stuff like that because she does love him, but it's frustrating at times. His male friend was like, sometimes you just have to keep telling him things over and over and over, until they sink in. And I feel like that's unacceptable when somebody is an adult. I'm sorry, but to me, that is unacceptable. I shouldn't have to keep repeating myself over and over and over. Justin is talking to her friends, and he asked them how should he respond when she's upset. How should he act? What should he do? He said because her family said that he should give her some space. Her her female friend said that you need to ask her if you guys are in an argument, ask her like if you can take a couple moments to go get some space so that you can go process it so that you can come back and you guys can have a more effective conversation. Justin admits that he gets more and more scared every argument because he doesn't know if she's gonna stay or not. And I said, she ain't. Don't worry, she ain't. She gonna leave. Don't worry. So later in the episode, the guys are all hanging out together. The ladies are all hanging out. And Alexis talks about the dog situation. She tells all the other ladies. And she said that she just hates that he keeps withholding information. Stasha said that sometimes she's the same way. That even though she does share a lot of stuff and she sometimes does overshare, there are things that like Nate will ask her that she just doesn't think about in the moment. And because of that, there are moments and times where she might feel like she's been super, super open about something. And then like a week from now, she'll think of something that's like, oh man, I didn't even tell him that part. So she said just to kind of have some patience with him. Meanwhile, the guys are talking about who hit it. And Justin says that they aren't having sex, but he's really tried. And Alexis is like, yeah, we ain't doing that, even though, I can tell that he wants to. He woke up from a wet dream, and I was like, put a little tink tink. So, I don't see them making it, and I think it's because, one, Alexis doesn't really like him. I think Alexis likes the idea of a relationship. She likes the idea of being married, but Alexis does not truly like this man, and because of that, she's literally finding every single reason she can to leave. Justin is giving her good reasons, absolutely. He's giving her good reasons, but I also feel like even if Justin wasn't giving her these big flashing reasons and moments, she would be doing the same thing. So let me know what you guys felt about Alexis and Justin from tonight's episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Catch you guys in the next one.